Thwip.
If you don't know, if you're listening to this and you're not watching it, then you don't know what the fuck we were just making into microphones. We were making sounds of webs.
I don't know.
Depending on version.
I did make the thwip sound, which is
sure,
in the
but I
books.
didn't know what the fucking sound is.
You were kind of making
Bam and
pew 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 pew.
Yeah, I was making just sounds, just small little sound effects out of my face hole. But yeah, we were replicating the audio brilliance of a movie we just saw, Spider-Man: Homecoming. We saw it today.
It's been seen.
It has been seen.
I watched the shit out of it.
Talked about the fact that we were going to watch it, and we did it. We followed through for you. Coming out this Thursday for your ear holes. And you already know the buzz. I mean, let's talk about where this started. This movie started with the fact that Sony owned the property and
kept shitting
would
the bed.
not let Marvel, now Disney, do anything with it.
Well, I mean, Marvel Comics had gotten into financial trouble in the 90s and had to sell off the movie rights, the live-action movie rights. They retained all their animated movie rights.
Right.
But so they ended up selling the Fantastic Four and the X-Men to Fox.
Right, yep.
They sold Spider-Man to Sony.
Yeah,
and they sold the Hulk to Universal Distributing,
which is, I think, Sony now. I think Sony and them are I don't know. So many companies have like.
That's
merged,
why there's never been
so
another solo Hulk movie.
Right.
Is because they have to go. Disney doesn't want to go through Universal Distributing because they would lose out on a lot of money.
It's
so
like one of the worst parts.
But
of
they can use him as a side character in every movie. That's why this.
Well, they
Thor
may have
Ragnarok,
like a weird contract, like contractually. Like it all depends on very specifics. Well, like it can't look like ours or whatever.
Those are who owned it all, and Spider-Man.
And that's why they had to keep coming out with like reboots of Spider-Man.
Sam Raimi made a decent 1 and 2. Spider-Man 1 and 2. They were fun movies, and they the first of their kind. Really,
because those movies broke records is the reason why there's these universes.
Yes.
That's why
it started. Pretty much
that was
that
the
blowing
proof
up
of
started
concept.
It all.
Yeah, that was the proof of concept that we can fucking do this shit.
By the third original Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi trilogy,
I hated it. I didn't even watch it all.
Terrible.
The emo.
We're dancing down the street because he's got the black suit. Okay, that's bad. And then so they were like, okay, we'll reboot it.
No, they have to. You
have to put out a movie every so many years, or the rights revert back to Marvel.
Yeah. So they didn't. That's why
we get bad Fantastic Four movies every once in a while.
Well, I mean, for sure, Spider-Man with Fantastic Four, those contracts could be completely different. But specifically Spider-Man, that's why they keep having to pump them out and reboot them.
Well, that's
because of that.
That's why they.
The other ones, I don't know if that's the case. But this one, I specifically
Fantastic
heard.
Four is. That's why there was that one in the 90s that never got.
Well, there was just one
released
last year that was dog. They're all dog shit. Every single one is complete and utter dog shit.
The early 2000s, and then there was this newest one. But then they remade it. They remade
finally
Spider-Man
allowed
again.
They did
with Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, the excellent, amazing,
the Amazing Spider-Man.
Amazing Spider-Man. I didn't hate the first one, but it was like
bad.
whatever. I never watched the second one. Didn't really care.
It's not good.
But then what was it? Winter Soldier? Was that it? No, Civil War. Civil War. There was a thing. Kind of spoiled. Was it in a trailer?
Yeah, it was
where
huge, though. It was like Sony and Marvel made a deal, and they were like, "We'll let you use Spider-Man, and you can direct the movie. We just get our cut."
Yeah.
Like of his
like
regular
Fedor,
movies.
what Fedor wanted to do with UFC way back.
And so Marvel's like, because they're Disney now, and they have all of the money,
and they're doing. I mean, it's like
all of the money, so they can do whatever.
And they still own Spider-Man, so this helps them. They're like, yeah, let's get some good movies with this character that we own.
Show us how to do this,
and then
please.
It's like, what if we do like these fucking different Spider-Man universe shit, but then the brand of Spider-Man isn't fucked up because they keep running it into the ground.
Yeah,
like the Batman franchise potentially could be. But yeah, and then after that, they're like, oh, he's gonna get his own movie.
Well, he's in Civil War. He's great in it, and everyone's super pumped for his movie.
Best casting for Spider-Man ever. Best casting. I'm not a big Tony Maguire hater. Tony Maguire? Tobey Maguire.
Tony.
Who's Tony?
I don't
Does he
know.
play baseball? Did he hit a lot of home runs?
There's
Mark brother.
Maguire.
There's a whole family of
Tony
creative.
Gwynn. I think he just like mashed baseball players together.
Oh,
Tony Gwynn's from San Diego.
I also mashed actors together, technically.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, he didn't. I mean, I didn't mind the first one. I didn't mind the first two. They're fun movies.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were also. But Sam Raimi has a very aesthetic. You can almost tell because very comical. You know, like kind of. I would almost want him to do a Superman than a Spider-Man. But anyway, watching. So then, this movie's announced. Everybody's excited. I'm excited. I enjoyed that Spider-Man in that movie. I enjoyed that movie. That was a really fun movie. And that's how, in a way, this movie starts. In a way, it kind of like blends it in a very interesting way.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna spoil this, by the way,
the shit out of it.
But before we do that, before we spoil anything, I love this movie. But boats don't work that way. That's all I got to say. Is I love this movie, but boats don't work that way. And one of my favorite comic book movies.
Oh yeah.
You know? I mean, Marvel generally does good shit.
Yeah.
I mean, DC had a good run with the Dark Knight trilogy, and early stuff. But as far as what's coming out now, in specifically like a type of movie that rubs me the wrong way, like remakes, reboots, comic book, not necessarily superhero, just like reselling old properties to like geek culture is what it's like the most, it's the big money maker.
It's the most marketable now.
But it's like, I don't like with the fucking DC movies. I don't like to fucking make excuses. Like it's a comic book movie, so who cares? It's like, no, it has to be a good movie. Which Wonder Woman, the best that they've done.
Yeah, by far.
This, I mean, as far as just a fun movie, again, it doesn't have the baggage.
Yeah.
I mean, it like, you don't have to go into it knowing anything. It's kind of a standalone with like moments of characters.
This felt like a John Hughes movie turned into a superhero movie. Mm-hmm. Because it's a kind of coming of age.
Sure. Well, he's supposed to be 15.
15. He corrects you.
Yeah. But
15.
But yeah, it's like, so it starting off like it's kind of like Baby Driver. I had to like settle into like the tone of this movie, and I didn't realize it was going to be like it was a little bit different tone than I was expecting.
Well, it starts off he's like making a video diary of his trip to the Civil War.
Didn't like it. I liked it, but I didn't like it. It's like I really liked it, but I really didn't like. There's like parts of it where I was like, but yeah, that's how it blended.
I wasn't swayed either way.
But
like,
that was
I didn't love it. I didn't hate it.
I was just getting, way.
But it also kind of caught you at like,
yeah,
it gave you a recap. Hey, remember this?
It was I liked it because it was super interesting way to blend.
It introduces how he got the suit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of it shows you the lead up to what we saw in Civil War, and it shows the whole Civil War thing from a cool angle. And then, but it's like, at the same time, like the thing that kind of bothered me was like, it's clear throughout this whole movie, don't tell fucking anybody, and he's doing this. He's recording on his phone, like that. Like that was, I was like, okay, it's whatever. Like, but that was like, okay, I gotta fucking figure this out, because it was cool how you were seeing it and what he was doing and everything. But like in the video, they're telling him, don't record this shit.
Yeah.
And then throughout the whole movie, it's a very big theme of, don't
but
tell
Tony
anybody.
does kind of give him like,
sure.
He's like,
I could get past it.
He's I'd be doing that if I was your age.
Like I have like two nitpicks that I can think of offhand.
The boat
in this
and
movie. Yeah, the boat is a kind of a big one.
It's huge
to get over, but like literally and figuratively, like the boat was pretty big, and then that was just a minor one. Just to start the movie with that was like, whoa, it was like a little bumpy, but then once it gets into it, it's like, I mean, this whole movie I love the fuck out of.
Yeah.
It was, they had like very small, but I understand why they did it. the scene where they compare it to Ferris Bueller, like it's like that was a cool scene. I guess I may not have gotten it if they didn't specifically refer to it.
Have it playing on a TV of the exact scene that they're parodying at the same time.
It's a little bit too much.
That's a bit hammy.
But still, like,
and he's like, great movie,
because it is a nod to like kind of the style of the film, like you said. The director, I forget the director's name. I'm bad with names.
Of this,
John Hughes. No, the
yes,
feel
John
of it.
Hughes. Yeah,
and that's like a very similar Ferris Bueller kind of 80s comedy, teen comedy film.
I'm not sure if
I don't know if he did it, but it has the same tone.
Yes.
For like a teen comedy film in the 80s. Yeah. So. Yeah, I fucking loved it. Compared to recent movies, I still love Baby Driver slightly more, mainly because
I like Baby Driver
original
more.
as fuck. And then as far as comic book movies we've seen some good ones. Fucking Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which is probably this and that, probably depending on my mood. One could go.
I like
above
Guardians
the other.
better.
Yeah. But then we've gotten some pretty good.
Doctor Strange was good.
Strange was a lot of fun. I like this more than Doctor Strange.
I like it about the same as Doctor Strange.
Because Doctor Strange is very much the 3D. I mean, the movie was great, but the 3D is what puts it so much. But I'm not going to see that version again.
True.
I mean, not anytime soon. But this, I don't think you have to see it in 3D.
No, I wouldn't. I'm glad we didn't.
Complete fun. Yeah.
I don't see a lot of scenes where it would have been.
I didn't hear anything. So it's like usually like the Ghostbusters and then also Doctor Strange. We
it's
hear
like,
shit.
Yeah,
so
it's like, hey, if you're going to see this,
go see it.
In 3D.
Exactly.
Like it's worth it.
And didn't hear anything.
Nope.
But all heard like, yeah, it's great. This is a great movie. Go see this movie.
But I
haven't heard any reviews.
I did like the way it started out because it starts out where they're in like after the whole montage of him
Kinda
getting his
found
suit
footage intro, like
all of a sudden
vlog.
it's like the city's devastated.
But
you don't know when it's from.
Yeah.
And then they go down into this warehouse and you see like this crew dismantling because you.
Well, that's where you're introduced to.
I like that idea.
Keaton.
Yeah, Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of actually showing, hey, when all this shit happens, people got to fucking clean this up.
Yeah.
Like this ain't a joke.
Yeah.
And him and his crew are fucking cleaning shit up.
Yeah.
And then in comes
Keaton
the government.
is in charge of a government contracted cleanup crew for this alien wreckage.
City contracted. And then the government comes
whatever.
in.
Yeah. And then Stark, the government.
Stark and the government.
He has the government contract, the big government contract.
Yeah.
Comes in and like, this is our jurisdiction now. It's like every cop movie where it's like the FBI comes in. It's like,
exactly.
Get the fuck out of here.
That's how I felt. And he's like, I got a family to feed, and
so it kind of makes him in a way sympathetic, especially the tone of the country.
I will say,
in a way, it's kind of weird.
I will say the trope of that one thing happening and him all of a sudden turning evil because of it.
Well, it's like. But they needed a bad guy, so it's it's like a mini origin story for the bad guy.
I liked him as a bad guy, but I didn't like. They could have just you could have just been. He's a guy. You didn't have to tell me why he's pissed.
But that's the difference between this movie and a lot of movies where there's like, oh, this is bad guy. You know, bad guy. Bad guy's here. Do we ever know really anything about bad? We usually know. We know why they're bad guy.
But I guess I'm saying that's kind of a weak. That's why I'm a bad guy. It's like, oh, the government fucked you once, and you're like,
I mean,
I'm
going to
become a criminal mastermind developing weapons and selling them to criminals.
Because that first scene versus, was it 8 or 10 years later?
8.
Yeah, so almost a decade later. And it was like he had a smart guy working with him, and the smart guy just started making shit. He wasn't like the mastermind. He was just like, I got a smart guy. I'll use a smart guy, and I know these guys can. He was a good manager. He was just a good manager.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, basically, he wasn't like brilliant in any sense of the word, but he knew he had good people working with him to do what he needed to do to become this like new age arms dealer kind of a guy.
Like I said, I love this movie too.
Yeah.
I'm not like shitting on it, but like
as far as how bad guys are introduced,
rethinking about it.
Yeah. I actually like it more.
I didn't say that during the movie.
Yeah.
But when I say it again, I go,
I actually like it more.
That's kind of.
Because you don't know how many times he's been screwed over.
He could have been screwed over a lot.
He works with the government now and then. And, he as a business person, just bitter people. Clearly he was bitter.
I thought that was going to make him, like, mad at Stark, though, and be targeting... even though...
He technically was. He was stealing from him. He kind of
did at the end, but...
He was stealing from him. Literally, because the people that took over his job, he was stealing from them to build his shit. That's how he was getting it. So he was literally fucking them over to make money.
True.
Because he knew that's what they were
no, I get
going
you on that,
for. So
but I mean, he wasn't like actively. But I guess
he wasn't like they weren't the target.
You wouldn't want to try to fight Iron Man even with your
why would you want to kill your supply? They're supplying you with everything. You just have to. There's like Brinks. Like if you want money, and you know how to steal from Brinks, fucking armored transport, you're not gonna take Brinks out. You're just gonna feed off of them. You're like Parasite. But I actually like it more because usually bad guys in movies are just like, oh, here's bad guy, and where he had some motivation, and it came up again, like when it was him and Spider-Man at the scene later. I don't want to talk too much about it specifically yet, but like he kind of goes into it again where his frustrations. So he's almost like a sympathetic bad guy in a way. Like I could see people that lost their factory jobs and have been on an unemployment or disability or whatever and angry, and they're like super Trump supporters and think he's going to magically bring back jobs. Like they could almost sympathize more with him. They're like, yeah, fuck them. We need to make our fucking money back, which is kind of weird that watching this movie, the bad guy could be that sympathetic.
Yeah.
But he was that character.
Like Keaton's great and
he's
everything.
Yeah.
Like
and he in The Founder, which pretty good movie, but it's like he plays the guy that steals McDonald's, the idea for McDonald's, and then like shuts the original creators out. Technically a bad guy.
Yeah.
Plays it great. And it's like it's kind of weird, like when he was announced to play this character, which I don't know the character's name, but it's like the fact that he played Birdman.
And
which is a reference to him playing Batman, but then it's like it's so weird.
It's Birdception.
He has like
it's layers upon
he's Inception to his career. It's just fucking crazy. It's fucking insane.
You know one of my favorite
but I love
Keaton
him,
movies?
Jackie Brown.
Multiplicity.
I haven't seen that, but I enjoyed it. I don't know how much I would. No, I have seen it back in like the 90s and haven't revisited it.
I really enjoyed that just as a like. Because he got, his fucking macho, his feminine, and his retarded.
I haven't rewatched it. Like, I remember enjoying it, but I haven't. Yeah. But I can't recall. Like, if I watched it today, I don't know if
Andy
I would like it
was his wife.
Maybe. Do you remember the one where he had cancer and he was doing a video to his kid?
No.
Really depressing, but fucking good. Really good.
Probably my least favorite of his, which wasn't a bad movie, White Noise.
Yeah, it wasn't good. I mean, it was like a horror movie.
Yeah.
With Static as the bad guy.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
You want to talk about bad guys? Static.
We're like,
White
but
Noise.
It's saying shit to me every once in a while. When I listen to Static for 36 hours, you'll start hearing shit.
Yeah. Let's see. It's got to be like early shit. Let's see here.
Jack Frost was pretty terrible.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's not great.
Yeah.
Multiplicity.
Jackie Brown. Fucking amazing.
Much Ado About Nothing.
My Life. Yeah. It's like his wife's pregnant, but he's is not going to live 9 months.
I believe I had heard about
this. White bummer movie. And I watched it when I was like probably a teenager. Probably one of the few bummer movies as a teenager that I was like...
You watched this at like 12 or 13?
I rented it, so it's a few years later, but still a teenager.
Yeah, remember how long it used to take for a feature-length movie?
I don't even remember how long, but I know it was way longer than now. Now is like 3 months.
Yeah. It used to... I remember this movie came out, Gladiator, not the Russell Crowe...
Chloe Savani?
Russell Crowe. Not that Gladiator, but there was a boxing movie with Cuba Gooding Jr. and this white dude called Gladiator.
I've never seen it, but I see the poster.
Yes. And it was like... I remember seeing... Like, getting excited about the trailers but not getting to see it in the theater and just waiting.
I remember seeing trailers on rentals.
Yeah, but that was one that like something happened in between the movie being released and it being released on VHS, where it was literally like a year and a half.
Well, that'd just be distribution.
Something happened.
They didn't have VHS distribution yet.
I don't know, but
they didn't want to put. It didn't do well in theaters, so they held back.
It didn't. And
movies,
it wasn't great. But I was so happy when I finally got to see it, though.
Yeah. What movie was it?
Gladiator.
Oh, Gladiator's right.
I've
never seen it.
Not the Russell Crowe
boxing movie. Yeah. I would put money on that movie doesn't hold up. Like not knowing anything about it.
I said it wasn't good. It wasn't even
good.
great.
Oh, I thought you said
but I
you
was
liked
just so happy to see it.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
It
was a different time, man. It was a different time.
For a year and a half or 2 years.
You'd get like 3 blockbusters in the summer. It'd be like you'd get like Twister, and then you'd get like the B version of Twister. Yeah. Like there was always like A version, B version. Now it's A version goes to theaters, B version goes to Redbox.
But we only had mom and pop shops.
The one I first went to was a mom and pop shop.
So like they might have 4 copies of something new.
Right.
And that shit ain't there for a month. Mm. Like you got to put in a request.
I wasn't able to get new releases. They cost too much. I was able to get the old ones.
The dollar movies?
Sure. Whatever they cost, but like the cheap ones. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, I couldn't get the new releases.
Back to the movies.
But yeah, Michael Keaton was great. Loved him in this. For sure.
What'd you think about like all the high school stuff?
It's like, I mean, again,
that's when it slowed down.
I didn't think so at all. I liked it all. I loved all the characters. I loved all the different people. They reminded me of high school.
It did. Very much so.
I had like friends of all different kind of races and shit.
Yeah.
Which, like, if Spider-Man: Homecoming was my high school, like all the fucking different raced people, like were mostly, and then everybody else was like white and Mexican. But yeah, I fucking loved it. I loved his friend. His best friend was fucking amazing.
I loved him too, and I guess from what I had read before, or seen a video on, that that character is in the comic books, but he's Miles Morales' Spider-Man's best friend. Like Miles Morales is
a guy that did a different version of Spider-Man.
There's a 13-year-old black Latino Spider-Man.
Donald
Glover.
He was
wanted
rumored
to play.
Well, there was people wanted him to be Spider-Man.
Yes,
which I'm glad he was in the movie.
And here's the thing.
I love that.
He referenced
Donald Glover.
He referenced he has a nephew that lives in the area.
Right.
And they didn't explain it in the movie, but that's
like Easter egg
that's
shit.
a reference to his nephew is Miles Morales.
See, it's like the difference between that reference and then like a reference DC would put in. Like if you didn't get the reference in a DC movie, you're lost. This is like an Easter egg where it's like, oh, there's like extra content.
Yeah.
Which is way better. But what was it? So it's his
nephew in that universe is Miles Morales. So
who's Miles Morales?
The other Spider-Man, the one he wanted to play.
Oh, right. So
he's the uncle of the character he wanted to play, even though they never actually reference his name.
He is older now, so it's like
he's our age.
Yeah. He before Way Fame and everything.
Yeah.
Totally Rad Show where we do the versus game from. Him and he like was part of like a group where they did like sketch or whatever.
Yeah.
Was on the Totally Rad Show for like they never had guests, but they had like they came over to one of their houses and they played like board games or whatever with them they did like a board game segment. Yeah. Like not focused on them at all, but then like one of those guys ended up being Donald Glover and now he's fucking everywhere.
I mean,
Atlanta's great. He's
been doing it forever too. He was a writer on 30 Rock.
Yeah.
In his like early 20s.
Well, yeah. I mean, he was starting back in like when was I watching?
The Community?
Like
Community was fucking fantastic.
Yeah, but this is way before all that.
Yeah.
This is like 06, 07. Back when he was on a podcast way before comics knew what podcasts were, let alone normos. But back to Spider-Man. Fucking loved it. The high school scenes. Like once I got into it, like just their, kind of
Well, they introduced his best friend, who's
Yeah.
this chubby Asian kid.
Yep.
Ned.
Yep.
And then it kind of shows that he's on an academic quiz bowl team. Like
he's active in school.
Yeah.
And he's become less active.
They're at a school for smart kids.
Sure, but like specifically him, like they mentioned that he like has dropped out of a bunch of different shit in school since being part of this Tony Stark internship program.
That's what he calls him disappearing all the time. While he's Spider-Manning.
Why he's being Spider-Manning, yeah. Which I loved all that stuff. Like they didn't go in depth and stuff. It was just like little like to get you just so you get more idea of this kid before he became Spider-Man. So it's like instead of doing a whole fucking new origin, the fifth fucking Spider-Man origin story or whatever.
I'm so glad they didn't.
Yeah, it's just like they reference shit that impacts you, and you already know how he began. He was already in the fucking movie before this, so it's like they're not gonna do a prequel.
We've had 2 movies within the past 15 years that already did the origin. We don't need a third one. But they did it perfect.
Didn't the Amazing Spider-Man do an origin story?
They did. They both did it.
Yeah.
The first one, Sam Raimi did it. Then the Amazing did it.
That's right.
So and they didn't have to, and it's great that they didn't.
Yeah.
I think the little intro was kind of the origin of him getting the suit, which
it was just like also reminding you of what he did, like putting you so you know where you're at time wise in the grand scheme of things in the MCU.
Now the whole
the suit he gets the new suit instead of his janky shit. And you know comes in a fancy fucking display case, briefcase.
Everything Tony does is fancy.
Yeah, it fits in. I'm just not complaining about it. But yeah, it's he kind of just, I mean, he gets it, but then he keeps wanting to be part of the Avengers. He's like, I need to be like, he already did this fucking crazy thing that he documented, and then it's like
he's still on that high, and he wants it, and
like he's trying
to prove himself.
Yeah.
And just not getting
so
any
he's
response.
Like kind of just going rogue in his neighborhood, kind of trying to like, you know, save stolen bikes and
but then the thing that kind of turns
help old
it
ladies with
is
their cats.
He comes home one night after he like webbed up his book bag and went out too long, and the web dissolved and someone stole his shit. So he had to sneak into his house.
That's why. Yeah.
He had to sneak into his house, and as he's sneaking in,
I love this scene.
Closing the door.
I fucking love this scene. I love this scene so much.
His friend is sitting in his room already because they were supposed to build the Lego Death Star.
It's the best scene.
And he,
like just the way he comes into the room, sneaks in. Because if that was a Sony movie, it would have been completely different and stupid.
But this one was
like, this one's like, you know, it's beautiful. It's great. You know, it's very much in that same kind of. It's like the Ferris Bueller, like him trying to going through, you know, kind of extreme measures to go to do simple things that don't really mean that much in the grand scheme of things.
So now, outside of Tony Stark and Happy,
which I enjoyed,
Jon Favreau,
Favreau.
I love Favreau.
I didn't know his name was Happy.
Yeah, Happy Hogan.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, I knew he was part of the he was part of the.
Most everyone's an alliteration in the Marvel universe. Peter Parker, Happy Hogan. Well, it's just all comic books in general. Right. Lois Lane.
I never noticed that. Superman.
Clark Kent, even though it's
CK.
Yeah, even though it's CK, but it's the same.
CK.
It's the same.
Yeah, well, same sound.
Yeah. Why do we have 2 fucking letters that make the same sound?
English is fucking retarded.
Why is that so dumb?
English is fucking retarded.
I mean, Keith could be spelled
There are
C-E-I-T-H,
silent letters.
You know what I'm saying?
There's silent letters, bro. There are grammar people that are angry at us, like going, fuck you, because there is spelled 3 different ways. Despite, if I'm writing that shit in a sentence, you're going to know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah. Sometimes I fuck up on that shit.
I do too. It's like I try.
I do. I'll think in my head every time.
I'm used to talking, not writing.
There, or you, or your.
Yeah. I try to, because those seem to be the biggest fucking vag bleeds of everybody.
Grammar Nazis like So his friend catches them being Spider-Man, which
which I loved. Well, I didn't love it, but it is kind of cool to see. In a way, like I don't know. I kind of actually, I don't know. It's weird that I like it. I kind of hate myself for liking it. But how they integrate like fucking their other properties into their shit, into the universe. Like, oh, Star Wars exists. I mean, it's clearly like, oh, Star Wars, Lego.
Captain America did a lot of cameos in video form.
Yeah, he was the PSA guy for schools.
And Hannibal Buress makes an appearance in this movie, which I liked as the gym teacher.
I loved Hannibal. I loved fucking Donald Glover. I love fucking like all the kind of notable small roles in it, which I know there was more than just those two, but I'm not blanking on the other ones. But I loved them I loved all of them. They're great. Yeah, Hannibal's perfect for that. That's like perfect casting.
I'm sure he's
aloof
a
and
war criminal now, but I have to play this, so...
Which is funny.
Yeah.
If you know...
Especially if you know Hannibal,
Civil
like
War.
his delivery, watch Civil War.
But it's in reference to the fact that he is he used to be part of the government, and now he's not part of the government anymore. So he's like, I don't know if I haven't watched the news, but it's like, it's I enjoyed it. I enjoyed him. Like the whole when they were in the high school, like it's not a high school I ever fucking went to, but
it's a high school.
Like it's a high school. I never had lockers or anything.
That is
hallways.
Every time you say that is the most mind blowing.
Like hallways in schools was the sky.
Yeah,
it was just like buildings that you go. Yeah, it's I don't know. That's what happens when it's like
1,000 degrees every day.
Well, during the summer when you're home and can't go outside.
What's winter like?
It's 70. It's beautiful. That's why people go there in the winter. It's like summer everywhere else. Yeah. So
after high school, goes back into him like he
gets the suit.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is next level shit. And he starts playing around with his next level shit.
Well, no. It's
not next level, but it's better than his old suit.
He gets invited to his crush's. She's a senior. He's a sophomore. First off, his crush's fucking house party.
Yeah, because his friend was overhearing during the Captain America workout routine group thing it's like what the Arnold Schwarzenegger like fitness
and
thing
after
is.
A montage of him asking hilarious questions to Peter about like
after he finds out.
He found out, he's like, "Do you lay eggs?" I loved that one.
There was a lot of it was a
Can you spit venom?
Good bit. Yeah. But and he like blurts out that he's like, "Oh, Peter
knows Spider-Man."
Yeah. Like that. Some of those things I was like, it's like, okay, like I understand you got to do this. Like I know where you're going with this, but it's like,
all right, here's one thing I did.
It's a friend and he's horrible at secrets and he blurts shit out. It's like, okay.
Here's another thing I didn't like.
He's the chair guy.
I didn't like, this is just nerd me or whatever.
Yeah.
Flash Thompson.
Who's that?
Flash was the asshole. Looked like he was an Indian kid.
Oh, right. The DJ?
Yeah.
I didn't mind him. He was an asshole. Well, he was a rich kid asshole.
Like
he was how people like that act.
And
it worked because you don't like him.
No.
Which means he did a good job.
I'm
because
supposed
the character's
to not like him, but I didn't like him as that character. Like
he was an asshole. He was just an asshole.
I just didn't like him. Yeah. That's one.
Sure. I mean, but with a lot of it, you know what? I get it, what you're saying. Like, it could have been done more realistic. But then you think about the tone of this whole movie is like fucking 80s comedy. He is the quintessential, like, bad guy. They're all douchebag, like, weak fucking things. He's brown instead of, like, a white guy with his collar popped.
Yeah.
But it's the exact same kind of character. Which is it's not very strong, but that's what 80s comedy bad guys were.
The thing about his character, and in all iterations, I don't give a fuck that they changed his ethnicity. That doesn't fucking matter to me.
No, I don't care. But I like that there was a lot
always
of different.
Like an athlete. Like he was a jock.
Oh, in the comic, he was a jock. Oh.
Well, in every iteration.
Whatever. Go read the book, nerd.
But I'm
in
saying,
the movie, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
and didn't bother me at all. He was just an asshole. He was a rich kid asshole.
And I get that.
And I don't know why so he's supposed to be going to a school for smart kids, but then there's
he's like
a jock
the dumb
there.
Smart kid.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't. But I wouldn't imagine there's like schools
that one black
focus...
kid burns him multiple times on like you're dumb. On the quiz bowl team, he's like bangs in. What I tell you about using the bell for comedy?
Yeah.
Like,
I love the teacher, the dude from Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah, Martin
and,
something is his name.
Freaks and Geeks and the
Knocked
Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley.
Fucking great. He's just a teacher. He's not a big role in it, but Jesus Christ.
His name's Martin.
Martin? I liked all the casting. The principal. The fucking.
Maybe I was wrong.
Hey, are you Spider-Man? Hey, do a flip.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
I didn't like that scene.
I did. It was funny. It was whatever. I mean, the tone of it was like very like.
Scroll down a little bit.
The tone was very campies. I mean, there was campy moments, but like once I got into the groove of
Starr.
There you go, Martin Starr. But yeah, I loved. He had a few good lines. Like there was everybody kind of had their moment.
I did like where he's like, you don't want to go up in the Washington Monument, and she's like, no, I don't like to. I don't think we're going to
participate in things that
were built by slaves. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sure that's not." And
that's
he like,
not true.
And he kind of glances back at a black security guard, and he was like,
"Como si, como sa."
Yeah.
It's like, of course, everything. Railroads,
the White House,
most all the original infrastructure of this country was slave labor, which is pretty common in a lot of fucking countries throughout history.
It gets especially when it's almost the Industrial Revolution and you go to a place that's completely empty, the size of fucking...
Yeah.
It's just so much land.
Yeah.
And for it to have been as sparsely populated as it was, and then just people coming over and then, murdering all the natives and then expanding their own way or enslaving them.
Well, doing that too. It was a pretty crazy time.
Yeah,
crazy time.
But bad things happen.
Go check out the dollop for how crazy that shit is. But Spider-Man, Homecoming, so
then it's all about Homecoming, though.
Well, yeah, that was one thing leading up to this that I heard on podcasts where it's like people were kind of like, they should name it something else instead of Homecoming. I mean, it has many meanings. It's we got this property back and we're able to use it again. So on like a business level, an overall like creative level for the company,
Spider-Man coming back from Berlin, where he had just got to fucking kick it with a bunch of like get into a.
Well, yeah, the movie universe, it's a homecoming for him, and then
he's just coming home and like having to be him again after getting to experience that.
And then it's literally one of the biggest events in high school.
Yeah.
Which I enjoyed that it went there, because when it went there, which we'll get there, was the perfect way to get there. Like it had all the typical tropes. I didn't either. But he gets the suit, so he's going around and he's trying to be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and trying to help and do these things. And he
some people would really help.
Yeah.
Some people, like he webbed some dude who was trying to get into his own car.
He sucks. He's a new hire.
Yeah.
He's clearly like, which that's kind of the thing that Tony Stark is like, very like comes in a few times through the movie.
Yeah.
But he's very much the father figure of the thing, which I enjoyed. That the things that he said, how it was very much like, this is things that my dad never did and this kind of shit. But so it's like it's him. It's like, yeah, he got to do this big thing. He's a kid, and now he's got like he's kind of in. He gets this gift where he's able to do like it's way better than his old piece of shit. And it's like he's trying to fucking make shit work. And but he's like sees in the trailer.
Yeah.
There's the Avengers with plastic masks stealing money stealing money out of an ATM, and he's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go." I love that fucking scene. How he enters the scene, where he's like very quiet, just kind of walking in.
It's like, how do I look cool? And
everything I hope, I don't know if he did the acting when he was in the suit or not. I don't know how they produced this thing, but it was great. Everything was fucking great. His character was great. How he's like the tone of it. It was
the best
perfect.
cast Spider-Man so far.
Perfect. but also like his ability to be like that awkward, like he doesn't know what he's doing.
Plays
he's
a
very
great
new at this
awkward
shit.
teen.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he doesn't know how to talk to the girl he likes.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about the boat.
So yeah, he finds out that there's like these crazy weapons that are being distributed, and this is like his thing. He's like he wants the Avengers to know.
And his gang
they're the ones making the thing. So it's like he's like, I'm gonna figure this shit out so I can get the attention of the Avengers. And he like goes on this trip to DC. He's like gave up everything in school. And he's like, I'm going back with my fucking debate team, my quiz team, because they're going to D.C. and that's close to where Maryland, I think this place is. So there's the scene in D.C., which is great.
And then he hacks his suit and takes out
he takes out the tracking because he finds out that it's like, oh, you can like on his way to D.C. They're like, hey, we noticed you left the city. He's like, oh, that's kind of against my That's kind of against my rights, isn't it? And then meanwhile, it's like he's also doing the same thing. It's like the way it's written and like kind of constructed the whole movie is like so nice. You know, it's like, here you go, there you go, here we go, there you go, here we go. It's like set it up, knock it down kind of thing. No loose ends really. Like right before the ATM thing, it's like we're introduced to like this deli and like, oh, we care about these people in the deli because they have a relationship.
I did like that they gave
back and forth.
Like a little quick like
and it was like attitude.
Yeah,
it was like, oh, how's your mom doing? Like that was the big thing. It's like, oh, your mom's a fucking MILF.
Yeah,
and then he's like, oh, how's your daughter doing?
Yeah,
like I love that fucking come back to him.
$10
like, $10 for that. He's like, here's $5. Let's call it a day. But then he knows the cat's name and everything like that. So then when that scene in the ATM machine little area happens, it means more. He's like, oh, it's very much like they did. That would be the time a bad movie would be. Somebody would say, with great power comes great responsibility. Yeah. That's when they would do that line again, reboot that line for the 20 billionth time.
Only Uncle Ben can say that, and not the rice guy.
Yeah, but I was like, oh, please don't, and it didn't. So I was good. I was like, thank you, movie. It never went to the places where it's like a shitty movie would go, where it's like, it's okay, here we go, this is the line.
Then they're on a boat.
Yeah. So he
tracks
them to a boat, a ferry, and it's like it's this fun, another cool battle scene, kind of fight scene. And one of the guns gets trapped. He's like, fuck you. And then the boat gets cut in half, kinda. Somehow you can cut a boat in half and there's tons of time.
There's a lot of time.
So it must have just not cut the very bottom of the boat?
No, it cut the bottom. The whole thing was separated. But water was rushing in.
Yeah, but I don't know. It was like the only thing that would make that somewhat is if the hull actually and it split and still water's coming in, not super fast. I mean, it was like it's like that was the scene where I was like, okay, if I gotta fucking like overlook some clear and utter bullshit, it's the fact that a fucking boat got cut in half and this scene is still going.
I did like him going through and flipping.
If you get past the fact,
everywhere,
everything in that scene is awesome. If you get past the fact that it's a boat that should be in the water.
Although they did do a throwback to the original Spider-Man where he was
I liked all of it. I liked all of it except for the fact that it was in a boat.
Yeah.
Like if that was, I don't know, it like a fucking oil tower. So it's like, well, I guess it's still planted on two sides. So you're just kind of bringing it back. I don't know, the observation deck somewhere. But a boat. That's the little nitpicks here and there, which are bullshit. Whatever, it doesn't matter. That's the fucking what the fuck. But what are you gonna do? It's still like the scene itself looked cool. So if you're not thinking about it,
looked really cool.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, if you're not
and
thinking
then Iron
about
Man
how
comes
boats
in
work,
and saves the day.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how intricate that the vulture suit was, though. Mm-hmm. That thing's like knives and scissors,
quadcopter, multi
grabbers, and
it
talons.
Is very much a like.
It's got everything.
Multi-tool for whatever he needs to be done.
It's the Swiss Army bad guy
which I didn't mind. It's like,
no,
as far as bad
cool.
guys go,
I thought it was cool, but it was like
it's very convenient.
Kept doing a lot.
Very convenient.
It was like,
go gadget,
it can,
bad guy.
it can all of a sudden do that. Like it does everything.
And it's like, I don't know how like quadcopter technology and wings would necessarily work well
together.
But it's like,
yeah,
whatever. That's what people are like. They showed when they first discovered the things. He had
a little
doesn't work. He has a little fucking PC case fan that was like, oh, it's flying now. It's like, nah, that's not gonna work. But it's like, I get what you're doing. It's like quadcopter. People don't fucking know. There's quadcopters work because there's 4, not because it's just one big fan.
Did you like how the kids when he first walked into high school were like there was a little nerd group on the one side playing with their quadcopters?
Oh, it's like a science fair kind of a thing. Yeah,
and like the teacher grabbed it out of the air and fucked his hand up. He was like, "Ow, motherfucker!"
There's a lot of foreshadowing with like the kind of, which didn't take long before you were introduced to it, but it's like. It does get you ready to be like, oh, we're gonna see some quadcopter shit. Yeah. So it's like that shit's real. We're gonna show you some fake shit, followed by some real shit, and then we're followed by some fake shit. But I didn't mind it. I liked it. I don't know. I liked all of it, man. I like the weapons that they were making were cool. I don't know. I mean, it kind of almost was like that scene in Ghostbusters where it's like, oh, look at all of our new shit, but it's in a better movie.
Yeah, way better.
Like and I like that they kind of scaled back the bad guy group.
1,000,000,000 times better.
Like the bad guy group became very like there was the inventor, the boss, and then the black dude.
I believe the inventor is a comic book character called the Tinkerer.
I liked him. I mean, he was clearly. I mean, I liked all 3 of them.
He's been in a lot of stuff. That guy.
Sure, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, it's a small character, or whatever. I enjoyed like the bad guy group. Like they all did something. There wasn't just like stupid fucking meathead bad guys that just kind of yes men people in the background kind of bullshit.
There was the Tom Hardy lookalike, and
but that was in the beginning, and then they scaled back the group. Well, he was scaled back in a very interesting way. The black guy that
takes over, he's been in so much shit. Why can I not remember his name?
I would not know his name, but yes, he has been in a lot.
I guarantee I'll know it instantly.
Yeah, he almost looks like a hardcore kind of Tracy Morgan, but
down Bokeem Woodbine.
Yeah, The Rock, and he's in Ray.
He's in a lot of shit.
Yeah, he's a
character actor.
Been in a bunch of shit. Oh, he's in a bunch of Fargo episodes. Yeah, all the cast was great. So the action moments that were in there were great.
Yeah. So after the boat, he gets to ask the girl of his dreams, who he's been
the whole time
creepily ogling.
Before this happened, there was the warehouse scene where he's kind of getting introduced to his new functions on his suit.
Oh, I forgot about
because when they took the tracking thing off,
the first time he meets the Vulture tries to kill him, and then Tony Stark saves him, but Tony Stark's not in the suit.
Yeah, it's just a drone
because he's
suit.
in India.
Yeah, it's a drone suit,
and they really had to ham up that he's in India.
Did they?
Oh, they were like,
"What's he in India for?"
I don't. They never said. He's like, "You're just lucky they have Wi-Fi here."
Yeah. I was fine with it.
I was fine with it.
He's got a drone suit.
Yeah,
cool.
Well, no, they showed that in Iron Man 3. I don't know if you've seen Iron Man 3. Yeah, like all his shits.
There's a lot of comic book movies. I'm like, I'm good. I don't need to watch them all. No, I didn't see that. But it's cool. So they brought it back. I still agree with it. I like it. Because it comes back later where he's actually there.
You'd be like,
which is after the boat scene. He actually helped him fix the boat. But yeah, he when he gets rid of the tracking thing, he finds out his buddy, his chair guy, is like, oh, there's a bunch of extra functions that are being blocked right now.
Yeah, he's like, there's a shitload of extra functions. And
so he's like,
and it's called babysitter mode or something.
Yeah, it's got and so he unlocks it, and so when he goes into that battle, he's like, oh, this is way more.
His suit talks to him.
560. Yeah, he's got a her mode or Siri mode. Siri,
Karen,
remember to subscribe to the Inspired Disorder podcast. Yeah, I know, but there's robots that listen to that voice. Yeah, Karen. It almost would have been funny if he went with Margaret, just as like just a fuck you. Like, who's your mom? You're my mom.
Yeah.
You're my fucking servant.
Oh, Margaret.
You're my robot servant. But yeah, there's the scene where he's like kind of experimenting with his new suit and his new functions, like seeing that he has different webs, like just kind of getting used to it. But then it's like
200 or 500 different web accessory things. It was something ridiculous like that.
It was basically like it was Iron Man suit in the form of a Spider-Man suit.
He kept asking if he wanted to go into kill mode.
Yeah, I thought that was.
I like
fun.
that. Like and then his eyes went all fucking red beads.
It's almost like his
shit.
suit was the CG character in this movie, the comic relief CG character. Yeah, it was. So it's like, it's very similar to him in general, like him wanting to do a lot more than they think he's ready for, and then he keeps jumping into what he's not ready for. And it's like he's trying to deal with the shit on the fly, and it's never works out.
Plus, trying
he's
to deal with
bumbling kind
having
of
a crush and dealing with high school.
Oh yeah, you're going through a lot of emotions right now.
Body's changing.
Body's changing right now. Yeah, it's the tone of it, the acting, the casting, everything, the action moments. I mean, the scene. I mean, so he goes to the party. He's like. Gets invited to a party because he knows this is before DC.
Yeah.
And his buddy's like, yeah, you come in, say hello to me, like I'm your best buddy too. And but then he like sees the fucking arms deal going on, so he gets distracted from that. He keeps letting her down throughout the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Every fucking opportunity.
Every time.
And it's very much like a Superman moment. Like Superman, they were, I think the first ones was like every time it's like, oh, well, he's going again. Here we go. What is he doing? But he's a fucking child. But that's when you see the scene where there's no buildings and he's got to run, and it's the Ferris Bueller scene. But it's like kind of, he's fucking like, as far as the suburbs concerned, they just got terrorized. All their backyard
up
shit.
Everyone's roof.
Yeah, roofs,
kicking
fences,
chimneys. Fences,
fucking outdoor barbecue,
like a lot of people shit.
Chimney shit, like they had a fucking oven, like fucking outdoor fucking He fucked up so much shit.
Fucked up so much shit in the suburbs.
Whereas like other comic book movies, like they're destroying town, like cities.
Yeah,
this is just like suburbs.
Fucking terrorized the neighborhood.
Yeah, destroyed all the suburbs. But yeah, so that's like
that's jumping far back.
Yeah, I know, but that's still a fun scene.
It was a fun scene.
We're jumping around here.
We are. But yeah, he asks his dream crush out. Senior, sophomore.
And this is when he's like his suit's gone. It's like, you're not allowed to do this shit anymore. You got to be if you're not fucking winning without the suit, you're not winning.
Yeah.
Kind of shit.
Well, he said, I'm nothing without the suit. He's like, if you're nothing without the suit, then you don't deserve the suit.
Yeah. So it's like he had to go. So it was like, being kicked off the team, whatever. He's going back to regular life, kind of fitting back into school, kind of coming back, doing normal kid shit.
His aunt's helping him fucking get ready for the homecoming since he asked her out, and she said yes.
Yeah. So it's very like teenage, normal shit.
Yeah.
Normal shit.
Tie a tie.
Yeah. Non-superhero shit.
Then he gets
dropped off at his date's house. Which we've seen already when they went to the party.
Yes. And then guess who opens the door?
Her dad answers.
That was not ready.
That's a spoiler.
That's a spoiler. I thought going into that.
Yeah.
Like when he opened the door, I thought, oh shit, he found out he was Spider-Man somehow, and
he got there early.
Yeah, so and I'm like,
I knew it was her dad, but I was not thinking it was her dad at all. That was like, I mean, it's because she's black, mixed. Clearly now.
Yeah. Well, then
so you're not thinking it's like,
oh, I get it.
Well, yeah, for sure. That's how that happens. But when he opened the door, I was like, oh shit. And that whole scene, once the door opens till he gets to the party,
I loved that.
That whole thing from in the house to the car, where it's all the typical like, you're just as a normal teenager movie, you're like really scared.
Didn't like like, I just didn't think it was believable that he would have straight up just got that he was Spider-Man and been confident enough to just pull out a gun and be like...
Well, it was when he started saying things that he had already said, because he started recognizing the voice. He's like, where do I know that from?
Yeah.
He didn't get it yet. But then he started saying shit when they went back and forth, him and his daughter. When they started going back and forth, he started saying a lot of the same shit that he was saying on the ferry. And that's when he was like, oh, that's the voice.
I did like that scene.
I was in it, yeah.
But I was like, I just didn't like how...
It is confidence, but it's also like
let's be real. He could totally be wrong, and it's just a fucking nerd on the
what they could have done. Sure, but it's like what a worser movie would have done would have been like he sees his fucking Spider-Man suit sticking out.
That would have been
stupid as fuck. So it's like, okay, maybe could like tweaked it a little bit, but not far off from what I like. Yeah. Like it's like, oh, he just kind of figured it out on the way. Like maybe pulling the gun when you're like pulled up to the front of the thing where it's well lit and everybody is.
Exactly.
That is like, oh, what are you doing? What are you gonna do? You have a gun. Everybody can see you.
Again, what if this?
But all the other thing is like
Spider-Man.
Sure, you know how you know when the dad picks up a gun and you're not Spider-Man, you react 1,000% different.
True.
You're not a superhero at that moment. You are a regular 15-year-old.
I'm out of the car before you even
You're
say
shitting yourself. You're crying. I don't know what you're doing. Nobody knows what they're doing, but they're not calm. They're not like, oh, the dad's got a gun. But, yeah. He knows he can take bullets. He's like, yeah, shoot me.
He's not bulletproof.
Yeah, but he's like invited people to shoot at him.
Yeah.
Literally. But yeah, I love that because it's like, that scene we've seen a billion times in that 80s, like, oh, now it's time for the dad to talk to the boyfriend, and the boyfriend's been really nervous the whole time because the dad is the dad, but this is a completely different, like,
but he's a superhero, and
so it's it's like that same scene, but like, and you still get the same emotions, but for different reasons. Like you get the really nervous kind of kid where he's like really, like the whole scene where how he portrayed that and how they filmed that, where he's just like stone cold, like just holy shit, I know exactly who you are, you don't know who I am yet, and I really want to fuck your daughter
so much.
I haven't fucked anything yet. Well, I fucked some shit.
My hand,
hand, sock,
pillow,
I've used many different lubricants. Shampoo's horrible. Don't use shampoo. Just from a kid to an adult, just don't use it.
A kid to an adult,
him too.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, I love that scene. It's a great scene. And again, the only thing was like when he leaves her again in that moment, after that moment, it's like you knew that was going to happen. So it's almost like we need to have this scene just so you can get to this scene so you can just bounce out, where it would have been nice to see some kind of interaction and then he gets called away.
That's what
so
I
it's
thought.
Not completely asshole-ish.
You would at least be in like
let's go get a drink,
dance.
Yeah, you get into like just kind of cut.
He literally walked
dance.
in 2 or 3 minutes after her, walked up to her and was like, I gotta go.
Mm-hmm. Just whatever. I knew it was gonna happen, but it's like it would have been nice. It would have been nice. It would have been like, oh, sweet, touching kind of moment. Like, oh, he's dancing with his love.
I thought that he would have went swimming with him when that whole scene happened.
I guess it makes more sense because that would have been different from how he's been the whole movie.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then that's kind of where he goes in the end of the movie. Kind of there's a few different. They were the first. They beat DC. They're like, fuck you, DC. Your character,
Invisible Jet.
Your biggest movie. Well, I don't know if it's their biggest movie, but their best movie, according to me. Yeah. Probably not according to box office, but Wonder Woman. I don't know. I've heard it's done really well, but fucking Warner Brothers, Marvel beat him to the Invisible Jet.
Yes,
and I loved how they did it.
It looked really cool.
Yeah, I mean that's basically kind of what you would need to do.
Yeah,
to make it invisible. So there's that kind of like what is in every Tom Cruise movie, but done differently than every Tom Cruise movie with him on a plane. Like that whole action sequence, how they set up, how they kept referencing this thing for the bad guys. Like, you want me to start doing that technology? It's like, nah, we don't need to do that. It's like, I know this shit's going to come up.
He said it like 4 times.
Yeah, I know this shit's going to come up later. Yeah. There's a lot of foreshadowing in this movie. Which is good because, like, I mean, that's easy way to tie shit up. It's like, if you know this is going to be a scene, it's like, well, let's set this thing up by like vaguely mentioning it throughout the movie. But yeah, it's like that. All of the action scenes and like what the people did was, I enjoyed it. Like the bad guy, even though the fucking wings and the quadcopter look of it was weird, I still enjoyed like the weapons and the technology that they made with everything.
I
it
enjoyed
all worked,
all the fight scenes.
Yeah.
There weren't that many fight scenes.
That was enough. I think it was good. Like it gave you some of the high school kind of 80s comedy kind of high school feel, and set up a lot of the characters, so you give a shit about everybody, like even the small people. Like the asshole has, like, there's a scene where the asshole gets took. You know, his dad's Audi gets took, and it's like, cool. I like that. The asshole gets fucked in some way, and he's being like, and it shows him being a douchebag. It's like, oh, retribution. Fuck you. But yeah, it's like everything, like all the little loose ends. There weren't like, it wasn't like a very interwoven plot where it's very complex and all the loose ends, like a Get Out, where like the loose ends were more empowering.
Yeah.
But there was still, everything that was set up was knocked down. There wasn't really anything that
it ended.
I felt
it ended on a really good fight scene with that whole airplane thing. And then how the movie actually ends before any of the post credits, like with his aunt seeing him.
I love that.
Like, what the?
Yeah.
And then they cut it.
Yeah.
Because
there was a scene
PG-13.
too where it was like, you know, he goes the whole movie, like while the whole movie's going on the outer layer of things that are going on, it's the Avengers are packing up and moving to a new location.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's kind of like why they're distracted and they're not really in the movie as much, but they're still part of the movie. So it's like, I liked how that kind of framed everything and kind of made excuses for why people are doing different things and all kinds of whatever. And then he goes to the new facility, which he's been talking about wanting to do for the whole movie. He's like, oh, he's always wanted to be a fucking Avenger.
Yeah.
That's it. The whole movie. I want to do this. Let me do this. And he's going rogue trying to do this shit. And then he has the opportunity. Did not like the suit. I like the suit in the majority of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I love that suit, even though it's Iron Man-ish suit, which is kind of weird.
The new suit that they referenced in that is another comic book reference to the Iron Spider suit.
I would imagine it's based off of another kind of a thing.
Yes, but
I don't like it because it's even
but he doesn't
more.
Have it. I'm
Yeah,
sure
it's like
it's gonna come
in the
back
future.
into play.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Like eventually, I'm not gonna like it. It's gonna go from the OG to the basically even more Iron Man-ish
I'm
looking.
assuming once the Avengers Infinity War or whatever happens, like he'll have to use that because they have to go into space or something. Like,
sure, yeah, then that's fine. It's like, oh, you gotta wear this.
You gotta
it's space proof.
Yeah, it's space proof.
This is fabric. You're speaking through fabric right now. It's not good in space. Yeah, which is that's fine. I mean, it still had the Spider-Man look to it. But it's very much. I mean, his suit is already
I didn't mind
so
it,
much
but like
Iron Man.
There's.
I mean, the technology in his suit already is so much Iron Man-ish, where it's like, ugh. Like I didn't mind it, but it's like at the same time, it's like, is that a real thing? Does he ever have a suit that's got like Iron Man capabilities? I mean, it makes sense because Tony Stark made it for him that it would have that tech. But it's also kind of like, it's like, wow, I've got just like. It's like being Superman. It's like, oh, I can do everything. But he's not good at it, which is nice. But yeah, it's nice at the end where it's kind of him. Hopefully, I don't know. It'd be nice to see another Spider-Man movie where he's just wearing that suit and he's doing this normal Spider-Man shit in his town and it's not connected to...
From what I heard, like the third Spider-Man movie will be the reset of, like, you know how they have... Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3.
Yeah.
Would be.
I mean,
the
I don't know
beginning
what that
of
means,
Phase
but I've
4.
heard those things. Yeah.
That
would be a reset of
which
what?
will kind of bring.
Like he's gonna do his own movies.
After Thanos and everything goes to space and gets mega crazy, and it's gonna.
Right.
I think they're really trying to bring it back down to earth with the last Spider-Man.
Right.
And be like, this is a problem, or maybe maybe they take this Spider-Man and do 3 of them, and then take a Miles Morales turn, and keep him
spin-off.
Keep him
they
with
do spin-off no matter what.
Keep him with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and then Peter Parker goes back to Sony.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That would be a good way to kind of get away from it. But, I mean, I would imagine, and then you could just, here's the thing. The nice thing with CG, like a lot of the, like literally Tony Stark didn't have to be there for most of the movie.
Aside from literally in like 4 scenes.
Yeah, I know. So it's like, but they just have to animate, and he has to do voiceover, which you can do for fucking any studio anywhere in the world. So it's like, they could do that with, I mean, that's how they're able to do these crazy things, is that it's like a lot of these people are just voices.
Yeah.
So, yeah, which is, I mean, it's interesting. It's like a whole new way to produce shit, TV style almost, you know? Like, it's very much like showrunners keeping things in order so they make sense throughout the run of the show. But yeah, it's I'm glad Spider-Man's back. I enjoyed the movie a lot. It's nice going back to back with 2 movies that were a lot of fun. Like fun summer movies.
2 hour and 13-minute runtime, so I guess it's not. It's not long.
It didn't feel long. I was in it so much. You said it slowed down a little bit during the high school.
It slowed down in the middle for me.
I didn't feel slowed down. I felt more slowed down in Baby Driver than I did this movie.
No.
But that's, I don't know, just between those two, maybe it was a mood thing or whatever. I was just in this one differently or whatever. I don't know. I enjoyed the fuck out of it. It was a lot of fun.
I really had fun. Is it? I mean, I've heard people be like, "This is the best Marvel movie ever."
I mean, it's up there. Top 5,
top
easy.
5, yeah.
Easy top 5.
But
here's the thing.
Not the best
I enjoyed this movie, like fun-wise, like around the same as like Ant-Man, which I enjoyed the fuck out of because baggage-less for the most part. Just kind of it's kind of a fun thing. It's very of its style-wise. It's like it's got its own kind of feel and 80s comedy, teen comedy feel to it, which was refreshing. But yeah, it's I don't know.
Well worth your money.
Oh yeah, for sure. As far as like the movies, there's gonna be a decent run of movies coming out. Baby Driver. Go watch this and Baby Driver.
Yeah, right.
Best 2 like summer movies. Kong was amazing, but that was pre-summer.
Yeah,
you can rent it.
Spring.
If you want to go watch something in theaters, go pay for Baby Driver. Sneak into Spider-Man. They're gonna make tons of money.
Yes,
make money for Baby Driver.
Holy shit, Baby Driver's so good. Spider-Man.
I hope Spider-Man beats Wonder Woman.
A buddy of ours, Izzy, I think he said he went to a drive-in today and watched Spider-Man and Baby Driver, even though he had already seen Spider-Man once.
Right.
That's the best. If you can find a fucking drive-in playing Spider-Man and Baby Driver,
that's a good doubleheader.
Give them all your money.
Way better than Baby Driver and It Comes at Night.
way better.
This is the best 2. This is the best.
If you could combo
the best combo.
Oh,
the best combo. 2 fun movies where you're not going to get fatigued, although it's either both of them slowed down for us separately. But they were so much fun.
They're still
they're so fun. And you don't have to be a huge comic book nerd. Just if you want to go, there's not the baggage, is what I'm saying.
Both way better than It Comes at Night, personally for me.
Well, yeah, but you could also say both are way better than every single fucking movie we've seen. Both are way better than Logan. Both are way better than fucking Wonder Woman.
I'll put this and Logan about the same par for me.
No. I mean, I liked Logan, but this I enjoyed way more than Logan. It was fun to see people cuss in movies and like.
No, that's not what got me about Logan. I've just been invested in the character of Wolverine since I was in the fucking 90s.
Right. It's like the reason why like I put this above like all the other movies, like not all the other movies, but it's like a lot of the movies that we've seen is like there's usually like with Logan. I had some issues with fucking Doctor Strange. Had a couple issues. Fucking, there's little issues. This one had a boat issue, which I'm like, I'm willing to get over that because it's like, it's not like a cast member that's like, oh, the fucking person it just doesn't make any sense. Like, this horrible casting.
Doesn't mesh.
This is all great casting. But yeah, it's I mean, it's right up there. Solid 9. Solid 9.
I give it like a 8.5.
Yeah. for comic book movies. I mean, even just a general movie is pretty good. I don't know.
No, it's a really good movie.
Yeah.
Best casting of Spider-Man yet.
Oh, for sure.
Best
Spider-Man movie.
One of the best villains.
I don't know a better Spider-Man movie.
No. One of the best villains in any Marvel movie.
Fucking the most sympathetic villain, and he's like mildly sympathetic because he's mostly an asshole. But it's like I could see people sympathizing with him, you know? And they set it up to be a sympathetic
I did like
character.
when he murdered that one guy. He's like, I thought this was the anti-gravity gun.
Yeah. That's not nice.
No, it's that one over there.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to kill that guy.
Yeah. Well,
but it happened.
him. Yeah, well, he didn't feel anything probably. All right. So go watch Spider-Man.